What's up, family? It's your girl. Okay. I know what you're about to say. Like, it's been a minute. Ha, ha, ha. I know. But life has been life, and man, it's been a wild few weeks. Let's do our check-in. Welcome to episode 4. I'm your girl, your host. This ain't your ordinary podcast. Let's do a quick check-in. A lot has been happening with school, and that has been the major thing. Like, there's nothing else. Really, it's school. Yeah, I will give a full review of semester 1 at the end of the semester. I ain't trying to talk down my professors now. Wait till I get my grade. You know what I'm saying? Then I will give my review and I will give y'all the tea. Okay, because let me tell you what. Anyway, how have y'all been? Y'all already know how we do. Leave stuff in the chat. Send DMs, whatever. I'd love to hear how you guys are doing, where you guys are from. You know, got some international people around, man. So definitely drop some stuff below. We're gonna hop right into this episode. This episode is gonna be a lot. There's a lot of stuff we're kind of going to touch. And if this ain't the conversation for you, I get it. What else can I say? Have an open mind for this conversation. And that's it. Like, I'm just being real, being honest, right? And that's it. Okay. So, and also, can we talk about the acne? That's never ending. I went through like a week where I had my nice clean skin after the last episode. Then I was like, psych. Look. Anyway, God is still good. Come on, somebody. I felt that. Anyway, so this is the hear me out segment. All right. So just hear me out on this one. I'm going to pitch y'all a lot of stuff right now. Bear with me. Okay. So there was this incident happened at the end of September. I'm not going to include any videos. It's really graphic, really violent. You know, a young woman, she was actually like 16. She went missing. Her father kidnapped her after having, trigger warning, kind of like murdered his ex-wife or current wife. A bit unclear with that. And he kidnapped the daughter and he went on the run. And the police were looking for the daughter because obviously she was in harm. So the police were literally looking. There was an APB out looking for the daughter. They caught up with the dad. And they had a shootout. The girl is there and they shoot the girl and killed her. There hasn't really been much clarification. That happened almost exactly a month ago. And there hasn't been much clarification on the details surrounding her being shot. Remember, like, the police were looking for her. She didn't have any weapons. At first, they tried to say that she had a weapon on her, but it was ruled that she didn't have a weapon. So she was an unarmed young woman. No, I know what you're thinking. No, she's not black. Yeah, and she was murdered. The very police who she was running to because thank God you saved me, that same police murdered her. And I think, you know, I wrote about this we have to do a newspaper discussion for one of my classes. And I wrote about this a bit because I think it's just another example of police incompetence. And I think I'm watching this document. Well, I watched like a while ago, like a month ago, maybe, this documentary called Dahmer. Good documentary. I'm a documentary person. I love it. Well, serial killer documentary specifically. And I'm not going to talk about the documentary. That's a whole nother episode, guys. But in the documentary, one thing that was clearly highlighted was police incompetence and how their biases, whether it's homophobia or just flat out racism, constantly impedes on their ability to do their job. But also, they're just not good at their jobs. Like, I know it was a reenactment, but it's based on true events. And similar to this, the police, between their biases and their incompetence, it's like, where is your value. And you know, I even had an incident at work where I'm assisting with a client, and the police had to get involved. And I'm not going to give too much details, but it's just in watching the police respond in a necessary situation where you need the police. You see incompetence, I think, just so evident, so in your face. And I literally wrote this down. I'm trying to wonder if like competent cops are the exception and not the rule. I think bad cop is one thing. I think a cop driven by bias is one thing. I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm just talking about competence, your ability to do the job you're trained to do. And I this is our tax-paying money, man. And my pitch for you today, we're gonna just jump in. This is my intro. My pitch is, okay, let me set it up. So there has been many conversations over the years in regard to defund the police, abolish the police, right? Bear with me. You don't know where I'm going. You think you know. You don't know. What if we don't do that? Because I've watched videos, I've seen panels where it's discussed, and it's put out there. Let's defund the police. Let's abolish the police. Man, then the question to that is, what's the alternative, right? Like, what is in place of that protective type agency? I remember one person on some panel has suggested, like, not every man for themselves, but like, be not your brother's keeper, but your neighbor's keeper. Listen, that ain't my job. No, man, that's above me, bro. Like, no, this ain't neighborhood watch for life. No, bro. What? Like, when it's dark outside, I ain't trying to. Everyone got inside. No, I'm running inside. Make sure I get inside safely. I respectfully, I ain't really looking out for my neighbor. I love my neighbors, man. They're great, but that ain't my job. And I also don't think that's realistic. How do you structure that? We're a country full of many different people, many different responsibilities. Just we deal with so much in terms of life. To add, a neighborhood's protection to your list of responsibilities, I think is completely unfair. I think defunding the police doesn't make great sense. A lot of time polices are based on the area they're in. So most of their pay is involving like the tax bracket or whatever for that area. However that works. That's not my area, but something like that is how police officers get paid. In terms of donations and stuff, I don't think defunding the police is the answer. And I get it. Like, I get, communities I know are tired. Like, I think we're all tired as a collective in regard to police incompetence. But I think this is the thing. This is the intersection. Like, for minority communities, you're dealing with police incompetence, but also biases. So you have literally a deadly combination, and people are tired of that, man. So I get it. But here's my pitch. How about, let me look. How about more trainings? Like, how about if we tore it all down, right? Tore it all down before I even go to the trainings. Like, if you don't know the origins of the police, I ain't really going to give y'all a good history lesson. In short, police were created to catch runaway slaves, along that line, right? So runaway slaves, and that is how the police came about. So, not a great origin story, right? But yet it's still called the police. It's so interesting. Anyway, so my thing is tear it all down. This is such a bigger conversation, but there are so many systems in this country in which we live that every system is like rooted in racism or sexism and or both, right? And that don't make sense. So I'm not gonna go because my brain wants to go there, but I'm not. Let's just focus on the police. So my suggestion is to tear it all down. Tear it all down. Let me word it carefully here in case federal agents are listening. Like, let's abolish the police as we know it. Let there be no more police. The use of that word police. Like, there's no more police. Let's rebuild something with a new name. Let's say super security guards, right? Let's build that new super security guard system. Super security guard system. SSS. I'm not mad at that. Super security guard system. That's really good. Let's start with that. Let's let the foundation of that be to guard communities and serve communities, protect communities, all communities, of every background, right? Of every intersection, right? Let that be your new foundation. Start fresh. I think that is a good start to fixing a very broken system. Is starting over. You're trying to fix and rebuild something that has a broken. Well, actually, no. I think that's actually wrong. I was gonna say you're trying to fix something that has a broken foundation, but I mean, I think something that's built to harm people, I think it's been successful. I don't know if that sentence just made sense, but I'm saying the police were built to harm people, right? To perpetuate slavery, right? Huh? I didn't say it, you did. Like, you're succeeding at your job. Like, you're not protecting and serving because that wasn't your original goal, right? You are still participating in what you were originally created for. So it's not technically a broken system. Technically, you're working correctly, right? So, let's build a new system, super security system, right? Let's build a new system on, like, I don't even know, good principles. Like, let's not, hunt down Black folks no more, like, which is something y'all still, kind of do, right? Let's serve all communities of all colors, of all religions, of all, sexual identities, no matter who it is. Let's protect and serve everyone equally, right? Then I think train police officers with the same intensity, that's the right word, intensity, as you train healthcare workers. We're gonna talk about it because they be going through it all, right? Just to become doctors, nurses, and other positions that's not really my field. I'm sorry. Shout out to y'all though. Y'all are holding us down, right? But they go through such rigorous training to get to these positions that are important. But police sometimes just be like, yeah, man. Like, man, my daddy, he used to be a sheriff, so I don't be a sheriff. Like, this is a traditional thing. Like, your lives, like the lives of communities, the lives of people are in your hands, bro. Right? So I think requiring police officers, my opinion, to have at a minimum a bachelor's degree. A minimum. Why? How you have a 19-year-old, 20-year-old cop? Come on, bro. Like, at that age, you're not making good decisions, period. Your brain ain't even fully developed, man. Like, it's like you barely just sneaked out of puberty, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, 19-year-old, 20-year-old is crazy. 22, I think is pushing it because you look at other fields, but I think at a minimum, a bachelor's. At least you have some type of, I don't know, you went out there. I feel like I'm not crazy about college. I don't think college is for everyone. I get it. But I maybe the way you have pre-law, pre-med, pre-police. Something that is preparing you for a very important field, right? That's just me. Then I think you know, outside of it, you know, after education, academy should not just be about physical agility, bro. Half the time, y'all not even really chasing nobody. Like, that's like, and half the time, y'all don't be looking like y'all can chase anybody. I'm sorry, all bodies matter. I love all body types, but I'm just saying, in this specific circumstance, man, like, what are y'all training so hard for? Like, anyway, I know y'all all thinking it. So, honestly, I would, you know, the same way you're tearing down the police as we know it, I would tear down the police academy as we know it. I think I would focus less on physical ability and more on your mental abilities and your mental faculties. Let's target some biases, huh? Not the B word. Everyone got a bias. Everyone got biases, I should say, right? And when you're a police officer, you're not in the position as a regular person, right? Like, you are now becoming a person of power, right? So your biases, more than anyone else's, has to be in check. I don't know if you could fully eradicate biases, but you could at least have your biases in check so that they don't influence your decision making. So I think anti-bias training should be like, not just like, oh, you know, I don't know, be nice to Black people. Like, I don't know what the diversity, inclusion, equality trainings are really about, but like, obviously you should treat people equally. Like, I think that's obvious and that goes without saying. Sure, you can reiterate for some people, sure, but I think like you should more, but then again, we're an interesting society. I think you should be more confrontational. Like, man, like, many of you may, depending on the race, but if let's say it's white, like, many of you may have lived in a white bubble. That's okay. Let's address it. You know, like, let's be real here. And I also think about sensitivity trainings. I think, even in regard to people with mental health issues, you know, it has been posed. I was in a class, I think, and I think the professor had posted or someone else had posed the idea of police officers being accompanied with social workers, and that's not a bad idea. Do you necessarily have the numbers for that? Like, do you have enough social workers on demand to do that? I don't know, but I think that's an idea. I think having social workers employed by the super security system agency and having their job be to support officers in interactions where you hear someone acting, you know, I don't know a word to use, but, or for instance, you hear someone trying to harm themselves and the police are called. I think maybe have a social worker accompany the police officer and maybe let the social worker take the lead. If there's a protection issue, police officer is there. If I think outside of that, let the social worker take the lead. Let the social worker talk to whomever and, you know, escort them to the hospital. Like, let the social worker, you know, showcase their expertise. While the police officer, I think, should still get some type of training to be still sensitive to the situation. I do think it's a good idea to maybe have, because there are cases where people with mental health illnesses are killed by police officers who did not fully understand that that person had a mental illness. And again, I do think these things are preventable. Like, I think it's just not being so gun happy. Let's talk about guns real quick before I finish my pitch, right? Should the super security system agency, should their agents be equipped with guns? Is what you're thinking. Yes. We live in a country where people can legally get access to guns. We live in a country where people can illegally get access to guns. In both cases, guns have been used for crimes, right? Like, that's a fact, right? Okay, so if that is the case, this is my opinion, super security system agency agents, they should be equipped with guns until our country meets a point where we can no longer have access to guns. And even then, people will have access to guns. So that's, I don't see a world in which these agents will be able to properly protect communities, any community, if they don't have, guns. Like, if these agents don't have guns, you would go pop, 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 go rob a bank. Man, look, the agents showed up. What y'all gonna do? Tase me? Like, man, I think in some situations, and I'm not sure it's many, I don't know the numbers, but in some situations, I do think the agents may need a gun. It's not ideal. It's not my preference. I am just trying to fix one system at a time. One system at a time. So yes, I do gun issues. I think is a completely different conversation. We could have another day, but I do think in some circumstances they will need guns. So yeah, I do think, however, I do think again, back to trainings, right? Like back to what is the steps the process in your mind before you go to the gun. I think that needs to be emphasized during the academy. Another thing, like maybe gun isn't necessary unless there's a weapon present. Maybe taser for 95% of your interactions. I don't know that, man. That's just me. And I think, something along those lines, because I don't think guns are really used in a lot of interactions. Are they? I don't know. I don't know the numbers, but I don't think they're necessary. I should say, I don't think they're necessary or required in a lot of interaction. I just think they're used in interactions that aren't necessary, that don't require that type of gun power. Right? You're bringing a gun to like a fist fight, and that never works out for the opposite party. And I feel like that's my last part of my pitch. I think I feel like I got this from a friend I was talking to about this maybe a long time ago. I don't know. Shout out to whoever you are. But I think internships for police officers. Everybody else got to do an internship. Shout out to my internship. I love y'all, man. But everyone else has to do an internship. Why not the police? Why are we treating, these officers, because I'm outside of my pitch. I'm back to like reality. Like, why are we treating these officers as though like this job does not require the best perfection, similar to being a surgeon, to being a doctor? Like if you give us short of your best, lives can be at risk. Like, I don't think it's dramatic to say that, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know why it is not emphasized that like we should put more structure into this, job, because what you are creating and what you are producing are incompetent workers. Now, maybe if you're working at Dunkin' Donuts, being an incompetent worker is having a long line because you don't know how to work the cashier properly, or you don't know how to count. It's okay, mathing for everybody. Thank God for calculators, right? But to be an incompetent cop, that ain't great. That ain't great. So that's really my pitch. And I definitely think if you implement half of that, you might just get a better set of officers who are, not so power driven, right? Because they are human beings. And, once you get in a position of power, sometimes that changes you, or sometimes that showcases more of who you are, right? So I think you will be able to produce, better officers who will better serve communities, and you will have less of these tragic stories, story after story, of police incompetence costing people their lives, right? Anyway, that's my pitch. Moving on from one thing to the next. Let me get this off my chest. Wait, bars? Bars, okay. I have to run that back, drop a little something here for y'all. Let's talk about it, y'all. Candace Owens and Kanye West. Let's talk about it. Let's talk. Everybody talking about it. I think everyone's talking more about Kanye right now. But let's talk about the greatest dynamic duo, right? I just know I'm gonna get fired up, but I'm gonna try not to, because I already got fired up over Candace, and I'm just gonna try not to. So for those who don't know, Candace Owens is what is Candace Owens? Who's Candace Owens? Look her up for yourself. Be careful, I would say. Her content, you have to just be on guard, because certain things will just, but basically, this is how I put it. She's a contrarian, and that is specifically in regards to things pro-black. Yeah, like that's it. Like, I think she's a political commentator who hates black people. Did I mention she's black? Did I mention she's a black woman? Like, black mixed with black. She cannot pass for nothing but black. Black mixed with black. She cannot pass for nothing but black. Oh, black mixed with black. She cannot pass for nothing but black. Sorry, that felt real good. But nah, like that's Candace Owens for you. And you've heard about her and her affiliation with Kanye West. I think they was in Paris, and they was wearing White Lives Matter jerseys, and like they've become friends. I'm not surprised. They share similar views, right? And I feel like this is another pitch from me. Before I give my theory, that's it. Before I give you guys my theory, I will say I think Candace irritates me so greatly for obvious reasons. It's like you're so against your people, like you're so invested not in making a point, not in necessarily being right, but like kind of like sticking a knife into the black community. And it's so obvious, like in your commentary, like, I don't feel like, you're even trying to give opinions anymore. I just think you're trying to harm the black community. That's just anyone can have their opinion, but that's just mine. And I think it's beginning to show more and more like you're just so against your people and you don't want to be a part of this culture. And quite frankly, like, you're a fellow human being. Yeah. But it's like, if you don't want to be a part of this culture, stop talking down this culture. And I will also say this. We all do not have the same opinion on everything. That is fine. That is okay. There are black commentators who disagree with things that, other black people may be for, but they disagree in a way that is like appropriate. Candace will disagree with fellow black people in a way that, I don't know how else to say, like in a way that stabs the black community. Like, it's not like, oh no, we just don't agree on this. It's like, no, let me offend the whole community in how I'm disagreeing. And that's the best way to put it. It's like you're just so anti-black. You're anti-you. But this takes us to my theory. I think Candace Owens is struggling with self-love. That's how I'm going to word it. Struggling with self-love. And listen, we kind of talked about this a bit in episode 1. Yeah. And episode 3, maybe? Potentially. And loving yourself is a journey. Like, on a real note, like, loving yourself is challenging, man. And I'm grateful that I have a period in my 20s where it's just me and I can focus on myself. And first of all, learning who I am. Whoa, identity crises all around. But also loving who I am all along the journey. Not loving a potential end result, but loving Sharissa today, loving Sharissa tomorrow as I evolve, loving Sharissa, right? Self-love is hard. It is hard, like, to truly love yourself. So I get it. But I think she's suffering from that. Why? That's what you asked. Why? Like, you're in, you can't wait, right? I feel like she's suffering. So there was this story, and y'all look it up. Am I gonna share it? No, I ain't gonna share it because it might have a bunch of cuss words in it, and then I'm gonna have to bleep it out. So no, I'm gonna give y'all a quick summary. Basically, Candace grew up, I think, or she went to high school at least, I think, in Connecticut, and it was predominantly white people. I believe I'm getting these facts right. Google to be sure. And one of her fellow classmates she went to high school with posted a video on social media, and the classmate basically described Candace being discriminated against by her peers because of her race, right? Like they were bullying her. I think they had wrote some stuff on her locker in regard to her race. I don't know how else to word that. And the fellow student was telling the world basically on social media, like, Candace and her father decide to sue the school district, and I believe the NAACP, my brain was glitching, man. The NAACP supported her, I believe, and she won, and that was pretty much it. Like that was the experience. So follow my theory. I think to be young and in high school, it's not the worst, but like it's low-key the worst because you're transitioning, you're going through puberty, and you're just kind of going with the flow, low-key, but not you going with the flow, but also you're trying to figure out who you are. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do for the rest of your life because everyone's asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like a lot of things happened during those 4 years of high school. And I'm not sure which year this was, but all 4 is just, it's a lot. I can't imagine being in that position as a teenager and be bullied for who you are, right? And, that's challenging. Like you're figuring stuff out and now you got to deal with not just bullying, because I've been bullied. I mean, okay, we're anti-bullying here, right? Obviously anti-bullying, but being bullied specifically for your race, that's hard. And especially when you're in a sea of white people. There was a quote that was shared in class. I'm gonna forget it, but basically it was talking about your blackness being so pronounced with a backdrop of white, and to be in that circumstance, even outside of the bullying, I'm sure it must have been a bit challenging, right? Like when you're a kid, you may not really fully recognize unless told your race and the differences in race, but as you grow older, you of course begin to see the differences, right? And so you already know there's a difference, and to be bullied for that, what that must have done to her inside, I can't imagine, and I think that may not have even been the only instance of bullying, because of her race. And I keep wording like that because I don't know how else to word it. Anyways, like it's specific bullying because of this, because you're black, right? And I think that did something in her. Who knows? I don't know if it happened more than once. It does. It just, maybe it happened just one time, but I do think that shifted something in her that potentially had her looking at herself in a very negative light. Your blackness is what is causing you to be bullied. In her mind, I'm so sure your blackness is what's causing you to be bullied. Your blackness is why these kids don't like you. This is why they don't want to hang out with you. Like, you know how thoughts are. And I think, this is my theory, I think that grew, man. That grew. And once you keep feeding negative thoughts, they keep coming back for seconds, thirds, right? So that feeling about herself, about her blackness, I think that grew. And I think that grew to the point where, I don't know if hate is the word, but maybe disgust. I don't know the adjective, man. But I think a good part of her despised her blackness. And now years later, she's at a point where she's, transitioning to a higher platform, and she is fully committed to being anti-black. And I think it's like some people will say like, oh, like now she's just putting on, like she's just fronting and stunting for the money. No, like I don't think she's fronting and stunting. I think she's hurt. I think she's a hurt person lashing out at not the people who hurt her, which, that tends to happen, but the thing that got her hurt, her blackness. So now she's contraring specifically to things black. Right. Why? I feel like we ought to look at things beyond what is being shown to us, and I feel like that's a really good theory. Like it's the social work in me too, but like I feel for her. Like again, I cannot imagine what she went through. Like, and she has my sympathies for all of the terrible experiences she faced. Absolutely, but that doesn't excuse you intentionally saying things in a way that harms people who look like you, and I think that lack of self-love is just, to me, it's just so evident and obvious, man. Like, evident and obvious feels redundant, but like it's just like, it's just so in my face, and I absolutely feel like that's her motivation at this point. I feel like, man, screw being right. Screw making sense. Let me pierce the black community, man. Let me taint the black culture. Let me hurt families who have lost people. And let me stop on George Floyd real quick, because she said a bunch of stuff about George Floyd. Don't matter what you've done in your life. This is my opinion. You do not deserve to be murdered in the street by the people who are supposed to be protecting you. Period. I don't care what you did. If we come to the point where we're okay when it happens for some, but no, we don't want it to happen for others. It's chaos. Like it's like every system is so terrible. Like, yes, like arrest him and let him go to the criminal justice system, which is no better. But like, if we're gonna have a process, let's have a process. Let's not murder a man, and let's not say, right, that his life didn't matter because of what he did. Like, remember, regardless of what this person did during his life, he still has a family. You know what I'm saying? Like, he still has a family. He's committed crimes, 100%, deserves to be in prison, because that is how we serve justice in the United States as of right now. Prison time, right? So he deserves to be in prison, but he does not deserve to be murdered. Because think about the power you're giving to police officers who already think that they're God, right? So I'm thinking, like, who lives, who dies, who tells your story? But like, isn't that like true, right? Like, that's what it is. So, she said some stuff about that, and I get it. Like, maybe you don't want him to be the face, but it's like, even criminals, right? Like, they're humans too. Like, don't they deserve due process? Or once they've committed crimes, like, do they no longer have rights? Well, it's kind of like that anyway. So, but anyway, that's my rant on her. I wish her the best. I truly wish nothing but the best for her, and I hope one day she heals, and I hope one day, she looks back and holds herself accountable for the harm she's caused. That's just my opinion. Anyways, let's wrap this up with brother Kanye. All right, y'all. I'm about to say some stuff, and I don't know what type of warning this is. But I'm just about to say a lot right now. I do think Kanye should absolutely be held accountable for every offensive comment he's made. 100%. Like 100%. There's no excuse for any comment or derogatory comment that he has made. No excuse. That being said, Kanye has been talking bad, crazy about black folks for so long. I remember I used to watch TMZ years ago, because slavery is a choice was years ago. I think I watched that live. Kanye said that, like, I think he was in studio, or was it virtual interview. I can't remember, but he might have been in studio. And I think Van, you know, for those who ever watched TMZ, Van was like a reporter there, and like he's pretty successful right now. But I think he checked Kanye, and I remember that, and I think there was like, oh my God, Kanye, but there was never a sense that cancellation was pending. You know, like there was never a sense that like anything was in jeopardy for Kanye. It was just like, yes, you know what I mean? And quite frankly, I'm gonna be real transparent with y'all. I try to be transparent, maybe too much up here, but I ain't gonna lie, like in my mind, I think that put me on alert for Kanye. Like, man, I don't know, Kanye, I don't, he's going down an iffy path, man. I don't really know. But I didn't cancel him in my mind. And quite frankly, it wasn't that long ago, like a month or whenever the last Yeezy drop was, I was looking for some Yeezy slides. Like, I'm being real honest with y'all. And you know, I was never like a Kanye fan. But like, Welcome to the Good Life is definitely on one of my playlists right now. And I'm just being honest. So it's like, I didn't really cancel him. I'm pretty sure he said something about Harriet too. Like, he has said a bunch of stuff. But it's no surprise that it took, you know, him speaking about the Jewish community to be what got him canceled. I think that's where that's where I'm trying to get us to. I think it's no surprise, and I've seen a lot of commentary on it at this point. I'm actually probably late with it, but I think none of us are shocked. None of us are shocked that he. I want to call this canceled. I would say like canceled, adjacent. But before I go there, right? Can't see, this is the iffy part. Y'all stick with me. Okay, stick with me. Okay, y'all don't find it crazy though? Like, and I feel like it's beyond this. I want to get comfortable. I think it's beyond him getting canceled. I think it is the parallel. Is it parallel? The different pathways of two historical tragedies, right? And I'm being dead serious, right? You have the Holocaust, and you have, we're just going to take slavery because so much has happened, but we're going to use slavery because those are like two Kanye, right, pathways. I do think that there is, obviously, I don't think it's just about white. Well, then again, that could, no, wait, hold on. I do actually think that plays a part. Anyway, that is probably the major part. The Holocaust was terrible. The tragedy that occurred was terrible. Like, and, you know, my sympathies go out to those families, you know, everyone who maybe, I think, is the last survivor they passed? I don't remember. But still, a tragedy. It is a tragedy. But it is interesting that has always garnered more sympathy and more sensitivity than slavery. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm wrong. What happened was terrible, right? But it has always been dealt with as fragile, with like gloves. But slavery, man, United States is like, man, that happened so long ago. What's the problem? It actually didn't even really happen. Like, but again, I want to be clear. What Kanye said was wrong. The Holocaust happening is truly a terrible event. But how it has been viewed, you know, the respect, I guess, or the sympathy, I'll just keep using sympathy, has been night and day compared to the United States and how this country has handled slavery, man. And I think that is what you see when Kanye says what he says. And if you read the tweet, says what he says and is then canceled. I remember being in high school, not even high school, like probably about middle school. I don't know if we talked about the Holocaust in elementary school. Probably too dark for like kids. Maybe, I don't know. I can't remember. But I know from like middle school to high school, how, man, the material, man, Boy in the Striped Pajamas. What's that book called? Night. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Like the Holocaust material was extensive, huh? I'm low key. I have not read anything, I think, or seen anything about the Holocaust in years. I feel like I'm low key. Wait, hold on. Let me see. I think I'm having technical difficulties. Anyway, I don't know what's happening with my mic, but I low key feel like I'm an expert on all things Holocaust. Like you can't like like, and I haven't been in high school in years, bro. Like the amount of material we've been given is insane. And then you compare that to what we have been given in terms of slavery. It's like, unless you took like AP classes or something that went beyond the basic. Wait, hold on. So yeah, something that went beyond the basic curriculum. Like, you're not getting that much stuff, if I'm honest. Yeah. I keep feeling like I'm having technical difficulties. But anyway, my point is, like, just systematically, I feel like they've tried to condition us to view them as kind of different. I don't even understand what it is they're trying to do. I just do know that we have been taught extensively on one thing, not as extensively on another thing. That tragedy happened overseas. Slavery happened in our country, and it has impacted everything we experience today. But yet we try to act as though it didn't happen, or it's so long ago, or Black people will try to make something about race. Yes. You know why? Do you want to know why? Because everything in our country was built on the difference of race. Check me on it. Look at the foundations of our country. Our countries were created by slave owners, man. It always has to do with race. So of course we're gonna bring up race because it always had to do with race. Okay? Okay. So anyway, I don't know. I just got that off my chest. I think it's unfortunate. I don't think Kanye is going to be canceled. I think this is like canceled adjacent. He's not going to be canceled. People are going to buy his shoes. His shoes will be limited editions now because they are limited editions technically, right? And he's not going to stop. Trump has not been canceled. Candace Owens has not been canceled. Kanye West will not be canceled. When you have a group of people supporting you on a certain side, unless you begin to disagree or sway from their extreme ideas, they'll always support you. They'll always hold you down, right? So he's not going to be canceled. I'm not even sure he'll be held accountable. That's just the reality of it, man. But I do think it's unfortunate. I do like, again, what he did was wrong, but I do think bigger picture is that, I'm just trying not to say certain things, right? I'm not trying to be canceled, but also, like, I don't know, I think this is the truth of the matter, man. Like, I do think when it has come to a white presenting community's struggle, it has been prioritized and dealt with greater sensitivity than a Black person's struggle, than the Black person's historical event. That isn't even an event, really. It's like a series, right? Like a series of events, or a continuation, or, beside a historical system, right? Something that started hundreds of years ago, and there has never really been a finish line. Like again, both terrible tragedies. No war ended this tragedy. It's still continuing. There are still systems that were originated from, right, slavery, and still doing what it was set out to do. So, hoping I can cancel for this. I don't think what he said was right. I didn't fully understand what he said, but regardless, You just shouldn't have said it probably. And so I don't think it was right, to be clear. And you know, again, my sympathies go out to the Holocaust. Like, it was a terrible event, but I said what I said. Anyway, that is our episode. I had some technical difficulties. I'm not sure if you guys caught the last part. I'm going to have to edit and see. It's possible that y'all might not have caught it. That would be so tragic, because what your girl's not gonna do is record again. But man, thank y'all so much for the continual support. Listen, I will do my best to get y'all episodes. Life be life, and your girl be tired. Y'all pray for me. I'm pray for y'all. You know, what else? Closing remarks? Man, like, that's it. Make sure y'all comment. I said a lot of stuff today, man. Make sure y'all leave all y'all comments below. DM me if y'all have any suggestions for topics. I'm all open ears. I struggle with keeping up with current events a little bit. But I try, you know, via Twitter. I try. But yo, like, shoot me a DM, leave comments. I do my best to get back to you guys. I think that's pretty much it. It has been a very spicy episode. I hope y'all enjoy. All right. Peace out, y'all.